What if I told you that, beneath our feet, across forgotten caves, ancient roads, buried cities, and the depths of the Mediterranean, archaeologists are still uncovering secrets that have remained hidden for thousands of years? In 2026, some of these secrets finally came to light. A Roman shipwreck carrying hundreds of ancient amphorae. Hidden roads winding through the mountains around Machu Picchu. A mysterious Roman sanctuary covered with more than 100 inscriptions. The missing upper half of a colossal statue of Ramesses the Great. And evidence that could completely change what we thought we knew about ancient silk production. But these aren't simply old objects being pulled from the ground. Every discovery tells a story. A story about people who lived, loved, fought, worshipped, traveled, traded, and ultimately disappeared into history. Today, we're traveling across continents and thousands of years to explore the greatest archaeological discoveries of 2026. And some of them are genuinely astonishing. 1. The Roman shipwreck of Sicily. Our journey begins beneath the Mediterranean Sea. For thousands of years, the waters surrounding Sicily have concealed the remains of ships that once connected the ancient world. But in 2026, archaeologists uncovered something extraordinary. A Roman merchant ship dating back roughly 2,100 years. And what makes this wreck particularly remarkable is what it was carrying. Hundreds of ancient amphorae. These large ceramic containers were the shipping containers of the ancient Mediterranean. They could hold wine, olive oil, fish products, grains, and other valuable commodities. Imagine the scene more than 2 millennia ago. A merchant vessel leaves port, its cargo carefully stacked below deck. The crew expects to reach its destination. But somewhere along the journey, disaster strikes. The ship sinks. The cargo disappears beneath the waves. And for more than 2,000 years, it remains there, until archaeologists arrive. A shipwreck like this is more than a sunken vessel. It's essentially an ancient time capsule. Every amphora can potentially reveal something about what people consumed, where products were manufactured, and how goods moved across the Roman Mediterranean. The discovery therefore gives researchers another piece of the enormous economic puzzle that connected the ancient world. And there's something almost poetic about it. The ship disappeared. The civilization that built it disappeared. But the cargo survived. And now, after 2,000 years, its story is being told again. Hatch 2. The hidden roads of Machu Picchu. From the Mediterranean, we travel thousands of miles west to the mountains of Peru. Machu Picchu is one of the most famous archaeological sites on Earth. But despite more than a century of research, archaeologists are still discovering things hidden in its surrounding landscape. In 2026, LiDAR technology helped reveal previously hidden sections of ancient roads. At least 2.5 kilometers of pre-Hispanic roads were identified, and one of them is particularly impressive. A principal trail appears to climb the steep mountain landscape in a dramatic zigzag pattern. To understand why this matters, imagine trying to travel through the Andes without modern roads, vehicles, or construction equipment. The landscape is brutal: steep cliffs, dense vegetation, deep valleys, and enormous mountains. Yet the Inca engineered transportation routes across this seemingly impossible terrain. These weren't random footpaths. They formed part of a vast road network that connected settlements, administrative centers, agricultural areas, and sacred locations. And now, technology is allowing archaeologists to see portions of that network that were invisible from the ground. LiDAR works by sending laser pulses toward the landscape. Even when vegetation hides the ground, some of those pulses can reach the surface and return to the sensor. The result is a digital model that can reveal structures concealed beneath forests. In other words, the jungle can hide the road from us, but it can't always hide it from lasers. And that could mean there are still many more Inca structures waiting to be discovered. 3. A 12,900-year-old window into human life. Now we're going back much further. Not hundreds of years. Not thousands. Almost 13,000 years. In Turkey, archaeologists studying Kızılcık Cave uncovered evidence associated with late Pleistocene hunter-gatherers. The site contains stone tools, a hearth, and personal ornaments. The dating places this activity roughly between 12,900 and 12,000 years ago. Think about that number. When these people were living inside or around this cave, the world looked dramatically different. There were no cities, no highways, no written records, no modern countries. Human communities survived by hunting, gathering, making tools, and adapting to their environments. And yet they left traces of themselves behind: a stone tool, a file, a small ornament. Objects that might seem insignificant today. But archaeologically, they can be priceless. Because these tiny fragments allow researchers to reconstruct how people lived at the very end of the Ice Age. Where did they travel? What did they eat? How did they make their tools? Did different communities exchange ideas? And perhaps most importantly, how did humans adapt as the climate and environment changed? The people who occupied this cave left no written history, but thousands of years later, archaeologists are beginning to read their story through the objects they abandoned. 4. The mysterious Roman cave sanctuary. Some archaeological discoveries reveal how people lived, others reveal what they believe. And in Spain, archaeologists have uncovered a site that may tell us something remarkable about Roman religion. Inside the Cova de les Duns cave near Valencia, researchers documented more than 120 Latin inscriptions. That's an extraordinary concentration. In fact, it represents the highest number of Latin inscriptions known from a single cave sanctuary in the Roman Empire. But the most intriguing detail is what some of these inscriptions appear to mention. A mysterious female figure, the lady. Who exactly was she? That's where things become fascinating. Ancient Roman religion was not always as straightforward as modern people imagine. The Roman world contained an enormous variety of gods, local traditions, regional cults, and religious practices. As Roman influence spread, local beliefs could interact and merge with Roman religious traditions. A cave sanctuary filled with inscriptions may therefore represent a fascinating intersection between local religious traditions and the Roman world. And caves themselves had symbolic importance. They were dark, hidden, difficult to access, and they could feel like entrances into another world. For ancient worshippers, such places may have seemed especially powerful. Now, nearly 2,000 years later, the inscriptions are allowing archaeologists to reconstruct fragments of those forgotten beliefs. But one question remains: who was the lady, and why was she worshipped here? 5. The lost half of Ramesses II. Few names are more famous in ancient Egyptian history than Ramesses II. Known as Ramesses the Great, he ruled Egypt for decades and left behind some of the most spectacular monuments of the ancient world. But one of his colossal statues had a strange problem. For almost a century, archaeologists knew about the lower portion. The upper half was missing. Then, in 2026, it was found. The missing upper section of the colossal statue was recovered, allowing researchers to reunite pieces that had been separated for generations. When reconstructed, the statue stands around 22 feet tall, and traces of its original pigments have survived. That last detail is particularly important. Today, when we imagine ancient Egyptian statues, we often picture bare stone. But ancient Egyptian monuments were frequently painted in vivid colors. Time has stripped much of that color away. So traces of pigment provide archaeologists with clues about how these enormous monuments originally looked. And there's something extraordinary about seeing a statue reunified after thousands of years. Imagine the ancient craftsmen who carved it. Imagine the workers who transported the enormous blocks. Imagine the priests and people who once stood before it. Then imagine centuries passing. The civilization declines, the monument is damaged. Its pieces become separated, and eventually, one half disappears beneath the earth. Until modern archaeologists bring the pieces back together. It's almost like history completing a puzzle that was started more than 3,000 years ago. Thousands of years ago, the people behind these discoveries had no idea that one day strangers would uncover their homes, their roads, their ships, their temples, and even their graves. They couldn't leave us a message, but they left clues, and archaeologists are slowly learning how to read them. And here's the incredible part: 2026 isn't over yet. There could still be another lost city beneath the ground, another shipwreck beneath the sea, another tomb hidden beneath the desert, another discovery waiting to rewrite what we think we know about the ancient world. So, which of these discoveries surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this journey through the greatest archaeological discoveries of 2026, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications because the past isn't finished surprising us. Until next time, keep exploring, because history is still being discovered.